We're looking for. Well, listen, I just want to take a couple minutes to say welcome aboard. I'm Captain Rob Gamberg. I'm the Chief of Staff of Carrier Striker 12. So obviously I'm aboard the USS Bataan. It's commanded by Captain John Carter, a long dear friend of mine. And my boss, Rear Admiral Roy Kelly, has tactical command of all the ships participating in Fleet Week this year. So we got 14 ships participating, about 4,500 personnel, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard personnel. We also have 3 Canadian ships this year, so if you get a chance, talk to those guys. Absolutely fantastic people. Get out there and meet and greet them. But all I want to say this morning is welcome aboard, and I want to make sure you guys understand. And while you're here with us, throughout the time in Fleet Week, ask all the questions that you can possibly think of these sailors. They love to talk about what we do. They love to talk about their ship, and they love to talk about what they're doing in the Navy. I tell you what, get down there and talk to the youngest kids you can find, because you're going to be absolutely fascinated and amazed with the knowledge level, the energy level of these kids, and their patriotism, all right? Anytime you sit back and go, man, I wonder about the direction our country is taking, think about the time you spend with those kids, and it will make you feel absolutely fantastic about the core of our Navy and our nation. These kids have got it right, and they're here because they absolutely believe in our country and they love to support our nation. For me, like I said, we're normally not amphib sailors. As I said, we're Carrier Striker 12. We normally are in command of well, we still are in command of a carrier striker, so normally comprised of an aircraft carrier. At this time, we have 3 cruisers assigned to us, 4 destroyers, and a aircraft carrier air wing with about 80 aircraft. So that's what we do in our day job. Luckily, we're between aircraft carriers right now. We came back on deployment with USS Theodore Roosevelt about Thanksgiving time frame this year after taking her around the world. Pretty fascinating deployment for us. Left out of Norfolk in March of last year, headed over towards the Mediterranean Sea. Got to stop in England, pretty cool place to stop for a port call. And we spent the majority of our time in the Middle East, about 6 months in the Arabian Gulf, working Operation Inherent Resolve against ISIS in Iraq and Syria. About October time frame, we actually, instead of coming back home from there, we kept on going east and headed over to the Indian Ocean, did an exercise with the Indian Navy and the Japanese Navy, and then from there proceeded over to across the Pacific. Spent a little time working with the Chinese Navy, one way or another, as we trucked across the South China Sea, a little port call in Hawaii, and then we pulled into San Diego in November time frame before we headed back home. The reason we did all that is because our aircraft carriers are designed to operate for somewhere between 50 and 55 years. About halfway through that life cycle, we have to refuel our aircraft carriers. Major undertaking. So the aircraft carrier we had in Japan was due to be refueled. So we had to do a 3 carrier shuffle to make that happen. So USS George Washington, that was forward deployed to Japan, we had to bring that back around to Norfolk to refuel at the shipyard there in Newport News. We sent Ronald Reagan from San Diego forward deployed to Japan to fill that requirement. And then we had to take USS Theodore Roosevelt, which was just coming out of refueling, around the world and end up in San Diego to meet that requirement. So a lot of moving parts. Also had to meet the mission requirements along the way. So for us, it turned into about a 9-month deployment. A lot of good flying, a lot of good mission requirements met, and got a chance to see essentially the entire world while we were doing it. So it was a great experience for our guys. And now that we're back, we're in between aircraft carriers. Yet to be determined which one we'll pick up next. So it allowed us the opportunity to come up here and spend some time with you guys doing Fleet Week. So you get a chance to meet Admiral Kelly. Hopefully when you're on board the ship, he just came on board this morning. So he'll be bopping around. Great guy. You bump into him, say hi. He loves to talk about what we do as well. And for any of our guys, just to ask any questions. So for you guys, I'm not going to keep you locked down here. You've got a short time on board. Want to make sure you get a chance to get out there and see the ship. Timeline-wise this morning, we're going to basically form the ships up. We call it a Form 1. Basically going to put all the ships in a parade of ships this morning with about 500 yard separation between the different ships. And we're going to drive up the Hudson River and basically show all the folks there in the city. You know, Navy showing up in town. It's going to be a great experience. As we go past Fort Hamilton, we're going to do a saluting battery where Fort Hamilton is going to fire off an 11-gun salute to us. We're going to return the 11-gun salute back to them. That'll happen a little after noon today. So that'd be a pretty fantastic thing to be up on deck to see that. As we're heading up the river, the crew is going to man the rails. They'll all be dressed in their dress whites, manning the rails around the ship. And we will render honors as we go past Fort Hamilton, as I discussed, the Statue of Liberty, and also the 9/11 Memorial. So that's kind of the flow of things. And as we head up the river, the ships will start peeling off to their different ports. We're pretty dispersed this year for Fleet Week. We're going to have ships in Brooklyn. We're going to have ships in Staten Island. We're going to have ships in Manhattan, Pier 88 and Pier 92. And then on Sunday, it's a new event for us. We've got a cruise ship coming in. It's going to kind of mess up our operations there in the Manhattan Pier. So what we've decided to do is we're going to stage a major event over in Liberty State Park on Sunday. So we got a lot of aviation events. We got some silent drill teams, other things that going in Liberty State Park for a Memorial Day up there. So a big event going on over that. If you happen to get over Jersey direction on Sunday, definitely worth seeing. We have the Navy Leapfrogs jumping in. We're going to have some helo events and a lot of good things going on over there as well. So I encourage you to get out there and see as much as you can. We absolutely appreciate the warm welcome we always receive in New York when you come up for Fleet Week. For this old dude, it's been a long time. In 1998, I think was the last time I came up for a Fleet Week on board USS John F. Kennedy. I was just a young knucklehead lieutenant. Didn't have a whole lot of responsibility. Certainly had a fantastic time. It was one of the more memorable experiences of my life. So a little bit different game plan for me this time. It's going to be pretty busy, but I'm certainly looking forward to it. And like I said, for me, thank you very much for coming out here to see us. Thank you very much for welcoming us with open arms. And like I said, get down there, talk to those young kids. They're going to absolutely blow your mind. They're absolutely fantastic. And glad to be here. Any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Sir, thank you for your service. We had a sailor from White Plains on a cruise with the Roosevelt, 20-year-old. I just wonder, how do you keep your sailors focused for such a long duration when you're running 24/7?
Yeah, it is absolutely about the mission. And what you'll find about these kids is they know that what they're doing matters. Man, they will work and work and work to make sure that mission is done right every single time. It'll completely blow you away. I'll take you back in time a little bit. I deployed on Theodore Roosevelt in 2001, right after September 11th. We went on deployment and we went 159 days straight without ever pulling into port. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. Not only that, we pulled the night shift for flying. So we were flying, basically, we were getting up eating breakfast at 6 o'clock in the evening, and we were going to bed at 6 o'clock in the morning every day. And we did that day after day after day for months on end. We got to the point where leadership decided, we probably need to give these guys a break. The most amazing thing happened. The kids were pissed. They were angry. They did not want to stop. They did not want to pull a port. They wanted to keep doing what they're doing. And when you looked at what they were doing every day, damn, how can they want to do more? And it's all about tying what they're doing to something that really matters in the real world. And that's from a leadership perspective, that's the most important thing we can do to make sure they stay engaged in what we're doing. And, oh, by the way, it's important for us to all understand that what we do out there in the world matters. I think it's kind of a human perspective, right? I mean, that's what everybody's kind of striving for, and that's what these guys get a chance to do when they serve in the Navy.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? All right, guys. Well, welcome aboard. Have fun. Enjoy the sunshine, and I look forward to seeing you out there. If you have any questions for me, for crying out loud, just grab me. I think you guys figured out I love to talk about this stuff. I've been doing it for a long, long time. Sneaking up on 30 years. Actually enlisted in the Navy as a young 17-year-old kid. So I've been doing this for a long, long time. And like I said, just grab me, and I'll talk to you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.